What would you do if everything depended on a single penalty kick? One shot, 1 second, millions of eyes watching, and the weight of expectation pressing down on your shoulders. Imagine your body responding before you even consciously think about it. Your heart accelerating, your breathing becoming shallow, your muscles tightening. Today, we are going to explore what happens in the human brain and body during moments of extreme pressure, using one of the most famous instances in football history as our guide. This is more than sport. It is a window into the human mind, illustrating how cognition, emotion, and physiology interact under stress. The year is 1994. The World Cup final. Italy versus Brazil. Roberto Baggio, widely regarded as the best player of the tournament, slowly walks toward the penalty spot. Each step seems deliberate, almost ritualistic, yet every movement is imbued with the burden of millions of expectations. The stadium is tense, silence envelops the field. Viewers worldwide hold their breath. One kick. 1 second. One action capable of determining glory or defeat. Now, pause and consider. If you were in that position, with the collective attention of an entire nation focused on you, how would your mind respond? When we face situations of extreme stress, the brain enters a state often described by neuroscientists as acute stress response or survival mode. The sympathetic nervous system floods the body with signals. The heart rate accelerates, respiration becomes rapid and shallow, and muscles tense involuntarily. The adrenal glands release adrenaline, enhancing alertness but narrowing attentional focus, while cortisol floods the bloodstream, increasing energy availability but potentially impairing precise motor control. The amygdala, which processes fear and emotional salience, becomes dominant, often overriding the prefrontal cortex, the brain region responsible for planning, inhibition, and rational decision-making. This neural imbalance is why even highly trained athletes may falter under extreme pressure. Their instinctive, emotional responses temporarily supersede their learned skills. This physiological cascade is reflected psychologically in what experts term choking under pressure. The mind overfocuses on the potential for failure rather than the task at hand. Neurotransmitters such as dopamine, which regulates motivation and reward, and serotonin, influencing mood and emotional balance, interact in complex ways that can either facilitate or inhibit performance. Cognitive load increases dramatically. Working memory may struggle to manage the simultaneous influx of emotional signals, past experiences, and the anticipation of public scrutiny. Motor coordination, usually automatic, becomes susceptible to subtle errors. Baggio inhales deeply, steps forward, runs, and strikes the ball. It soars over the crossbar. One instant. One error. Italy loses the World Cup. In that fraction of a second, a cascade of cognitive, emotional, and physiological processes determined the outcome. The brain processed fear, anticipation, and expectation simultaneously, while the body enacted its automatic survival responses. Hands sweat, muscles tighten, vision narrows. The fear of public failure eclipses the smooth execution of learned skills. The result is not a lack of talent. It is the natural consequence of extreme pressure on the human mind. From a neuropsychological perspective, this moment illustrates a critical principle. Under acute stress, the brain prioritizes error avoidance over optimal performance. This is not unique to sports. High-pressure scenarios in daily life, exams, job interviews, critical presentations, life or death decisions, invoke similar neurobiological responses. The amygdala-prefrontal cortex interaction becomes central. The amygdala heightens emotional salience, the prefrontal cortex attempts to maintain regulation, and the balance between the two determines whether we perform effectively or succumb to anxiety. Controlled breathing, mindfulness, and focused visualization are interventions that can modulate this balance, enhancing prefrontal control and reducing overactivation of fear circuits. Furthermore, the human brain is remarkably plastic. Experiences, reflection, and deliberate practice reshape neural pathways. Techniques such as meditation, aerobic exercise, cognitive training, and even adequate sleep enhance prefrontal cortex functioning and modulate the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, improving our capacity to respond to stress. The more we prepare cognitively and emotionally, the better we can manage pressure when it arises. Baggio's penalty, though missed, becomes a case study in resilience and adaptation. Failure does not define an individual. The ability to regulate emotions, recover, and integrate lessons from error does. In fact, repeated exposure to moderate stress can strengthen the brain's capacity for resilience, increasing both emotional regulation and performance consistency. This is why elite performers often deliberately train under simulated stress, enhancing their neurocognitive control for real-life high-stakes situations. Psychologically, the event also highlights the interplay between public perception, self-efficacy, and performance. Anticipated judgment activates additional neural circuits involved in social cognition, influencing fear and decision-making. This is why moments of extreme scrutiny can compound pressure effects, further increasing cortisol levels and disrupting motor execution. Yet, awareness of these mechanisms allows individuals to develop strategies, reframing mistakes as learning opportunities, focusing on process rather than outcome, and employing mental rehearsal to strengthen confidence circuits. Consider this principle. High-pressure performance is not simply about skill or talent. It is an intricate balance of cognitive, emotional, and physiological processes. Every thought, every emotion, every action leaves a neurochemical trace that shapes future performance. For Baggio, the missed penalty was not the end of his career, but a lesson in human psychology, neurobiology, and the complex nature of performance under pressure. As we reflect, we realize that life itself is full of penalty moments. Critical decisions, sudden crises, pivotal choices, they all engage the same neural systems. Learning to regulate the mind, anticipate physiological responses, and manage emotions is essential. Strategies such as deep, rhythmic breathing, progressive muscle relaxation, visualization of success, and attentional focus enhance prefrontal control, reduce amygdala hyperactivity, and optimize motor execution. These methods are supported by decades of research in sports psychology, cognitive neuroscience, and behavioral science. Roberto Baggio's missed penalty is more than a sports anecdote. It is a lens through which we can study human behavior, resilience, and neuropsychology. Failure is inevitable, but mastery over how we respond to pressure, how we regulate mind and body, and how we learn from mistakes defines growth, performance, and success. Each high-stakes moment in life can be approached with this understanding, giving us insight, preparation, and confidence. If you want to explore more real-life examples of high-pressure decision-making, neuropsychology, and the science behind why humans succeed or fail, subscribe to the channel and learn how to harness your brain under stress. Because in life, as on the pitch, the most powerful player is always the human mind.